welcome to another video update. As you can see, we are still in the process of moving. The house is a bit of a mess, but everything is almost packed and ready to go, and so much of our stuff is actually sold, but we're just waiting for our visas to come through. The process is taking longer than expected, but I wanted to get this video out because it's about the second trimester symptoms, as you probably already know from the title, but I wanted to get it out while I'm still kind of just in it. I've just finished my second trimester. I'm just going on to the third trimester, which is so crazy. And we haven't even moved countries yet, which is also a bit stressful, but we're gonna make it work. But yeah, so I wanted to get this out to you today while I'm still kind of in it and I still really resonate with what I'm saying. So I've been taking notes down since the beginning of the second trimester, and I have to say that the transition from the first trimester to the second trimester for me was actually so textbook. It was almost like as soon as I reached my 12th week, the food diversions went away and my appetite came back. It was during a time actually when Ross's parents were visiting us, so maybe that encouraged my appetite. But it was so crazy. All of a sudden, on the first night that they came, we went out to a buffet and we ate. It was actually for iftar. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but we live in a Muslim country. So during Ramadan, they have a breaking of the fast. And so we went to a buffet for that, and I ate so much food and it felt good. Like I didn't feel sick or anything. So my appetite came back from then onwards, and that was like by the 12th week. So that was crazy. And a lot of other things also changed in the second trimester. So let's get into that now. So I've been taking notes and it's kind of like in order of how these things happened. Once again, if you haven't seen my chronic illness symptoms video versus pregnancy symptoms video, please do go have a look at that, because the pregnancy symptoms, it's not really complaints, it's just interesting things that happen to your body, and it's not something that's like overwhelming or really terrible. For me personally, I speak for myself, but for me it can't be compared to chronic illness symptoms. So if you've been here for my chronic illness journey and you're wondering if this is maybe something that's like really unbearable, something like that, no, these pregnancy videos are completely different to those. So I just wanted to put that out there and make it clear, because it might sound like I'm complaining, but actually I've found this whole process very interesting and amazing and beautiful and fascinating, and I love what the body goes through during pregnancy, because you know, it's my area of interest. I'm so interested in human health and the human body and psyche and the things that our bodies are capable of. So it's been really a fascinating journey for me and something truly miraculous and beautiful. So I want to say that before I get into the symptoms, which are actually just interesting little quirks that happen during pregnancy. So the first one is sensitive teeth. And I don't usually have sensitive teeth, but from the very beginning of the pregnancy, this has been something like the gums bleeding. It's been something that I've noticed, and I guess I notice it because I don't usually have it. It's something different, but it's when I eat something sweet, or if I eat like salt. So I eat usually only Himalayan pink salt. So it happens with Himalayan pink salt. I don't know if it happens with normal salt, but I get like a pain in my teeth, usually my top molars, or at the bottom here. I actually still have a retainer behind my bottom teeth. At the bottom behind the retainer, if there's like sugar stuck there or salt stuck there, it's like really painful. It's like a pain that kind of takes your breath away, and it's there for as long as you wash it out. So my teeth have been sensitive. I did Google it. Apparently that is a thing. It's something to do with extra blood flow or something like that to your mouth and your gums. So that's an interesting symptom. Let me know if you also had more sensitive teeth during pregnancy and if it remained after you gave birth. Oh, this next one is also so strange. So every time, this was mostly in the beginning of the second trimester, every time I lay on my side or I lay down, the hip that was up in the air used to go like completely numb. And it's improved actually during the second trimester, it's improved. And I guess I've also found a way to sleep in positions that help it. But yeah, so if I lay on my right side, my left hip would go completely numb to a point that it would like tingle and I couldn't sleep because it was just really uncomfortable and really obvious. And if I lay on my right side, it happened, if I lay on my left side, it happened to my right hip. So that's something that was in the beginning of the second trimester. It kept me up at night for quite a while. What I found is that after laying down for a while, so throughout the night, like in the middle of the night or in the mornings, it was much improved. It was mostly when I was like first going to sleep, it would happen, and then I would try to get comfortable for around an hour, and eventually it would start to fade. And then I think I eventually found positions that helped, or maybe it just the baby moved or something, I'm not sure. But that was an interesting thing that used to happen, and it did used to disturb my sleep. Nothing like before. I didn't have like terrible insomnia. It just took a while to get to sleep because of this numbness and tingling. The next symptom was like a stretching pain in my pelvis and my lower belly, and it was like almost like a burning pain. It felt very similar to a period pain, and this one actually scared me because when you have a period pain, you expect something to come down. So I was expecting just naturally, you know, when I got that pain, I thought, okay, something's about to come down. Something's about to come down. Just subconsciously, it was a natural reaction. And so it kept scaring me. It was like, what's going to come down, you know? As a quick thought, a natural, automatic thought. So that was a little bit scary, but that was mostly in the beginning of the second trimester. And obviously it was just things growing and stretching. When you see my bump update later, you'll see what I mean by that, because things really have grown and stretched like crazy. So that's obviously just what was happening, but it felt like a period pain. It did. It was like a cramping, burning, stretching pain. I also took note of that I was sleeping less, so I wasn't sleeping as much as the first trimester. In the first trimester, I was sleeping a lot and I was napping in the afternoon. So I took note that I was sleeping less, and this must have been like in the beginning / middle of the second trimester, because the end of the second trimester, I'm starting to get tired again. I'm starting to get sleepy again. And I am actually able to have afternoon naps, falling asleep in the afternoon, falling asleep at random times. So that's kind of back. So sleep, I think, is throughout pregnancy is like on and off according to the hormonal changes, I guess. So at the moment, I am feeling pretty sleepy. Today's a good day. I feel a bit more energetic. And by the way, you do go through phases. So I think when you're feeling like that, really tired and sleepy, it's not a chronic illness tired, okay? It's different. It's a sleepy tired. When you're feeling that way, I think what's happening is there's just growth happening. There's a lot of like growth and change happening, and so you go through these phases and then all of a sudden your stomach grows. So you're like, oh, okay, so that's why I was feeling tired. There's so much growth going on. So yeah, I said that I was sleeping a bit less there. Maybe that's also got something to do with the hip numbness and taking a while to fall asleep at night. And I think if I think back properly, this is why it's good to do the video now, because I can think back and I remember feeling a little bit more awake and alert during this time. They do say your energy comes back in the second trimester, and I wouldn't say like I was like super energetic. I wouldn't say that, but I was more awake and alert than the first trimester. Another symptom that I have been experiencing is regurgitation. It's increased. So when I eat, it just feels like the food is not going down. It takes a long time for it to go down, and it actually more comes up than it goes down. I'm not like actually like vomiting or anything. It just comes up like into your throat. You can feel the regurgitation. Sorry if that's an overshare, but that has been happening, and it's still happening. In fact, right now, even if I drink water or something, it comes up into my throat. So a little bit inconvenient, nothing too major. But something that has happened that is really interesting is that I have formed a full-on dairy allergy. And this is something that I haven't had before. So yes, sensitivities and things like that, but this is a full-on allergy. Like if I have dairy, usually the reaction is delayed for me. So say I have dairy one evening, the next day I will feel like I have a stomach bug. So I'll have like the runs and my stomach will be really, really upset, and I'll feel really, really dizzy, and my blood pressure drops. I get really hot and weak, very weak and very tired, like completely exhausted. It's this full-on intolerance / allergy to dairy. Good thing that I don't eat much dairy, but it is a little bit inconvenient if you have cravings or if you by mistake eat some dairy. So interesting. I've never had that before. That just appeared during pregnancy. I don't know if it's gonna last. I'm wondering if it's gonna last, but it's interesting that that happened. And on the topic of allergies, during my second trimester, allergies have just been heightened in general. I'm talking about sneezing, eye itching, runny nose kind of allergies. That has been heightened during the second trimester. Thank goodness it's fading now towards the third trimester. We did have sandstorms here. In the beginning of my second trimester, we had some major sandstorms happening here. So that might have contributed, but throughout the second trimester, I've had heightened allergies, especially in the morning. So I would wake up and I would just be sneezing uncontrollably, like my eyes watering, my nose running. It was just like, it was a complete mess. My husband would be like, oh my gosh, what is happening to you? And you would have to always like bring me toilet paper or tissues to wipe my nose and my eyes and be able to see clearly. I don't know how common that is, but my allergies heightened, I would say, by 10. But thank goodness they're fading now again. As I go into the third trimester, they're fading now again. So I hope it stays that way, because waking up and having a whole episode for like an hour every day is not convenient. Then I put down in my notes that I've been more hungry than usual, and that is very true. I have been more hungry than usual, and I have been eating a lot more than usual. And I feel like this is the right thing to do. I feel like if I'm feeling hungry, I should eat, you know, as long as it's healthy. And that's what I've been trying to do as much as possible, to like just really nourish my body and give it what it needs. So I have been eating more than usual, and I have to say I'm kind of enjoying that. Then, if anybody knows my journey, and even when I was really severely ill with Lyme disease and co-infections and all of these things, I never actually had really bad pain, which is something that's so common for other people with the same diagnoses. Obviously, we're all different in our symptoms, but it's very common to experience intense pain, and often fibromyalgia is linked with these types of chronic illnesses. It's actually all very much interconnected, but I never had severe pain, so pain has never really been a complaint for me. But during the second trimester of pregnancy, I have to say that there are some aches and pains coming in. Now, that's not to say that it's the same as chronic illness pain. It's just to say that it's something that's unusual for me to have aches and pains, and you know, it's highly unusual for me, and that has been happening. I mean, it's a given, I guess. Things are stretching, things are moving. It's a given that this is going to happen. But I put down that I have aches and pains in my muscles in general. I remember my legs have been aching, my knees have been a bit sore. I have like aches and pains in my back and shoulders. And I also put down that there's been like pulling in the back, so I can actually feel pulling happening in my back, and it's like tugging on my spine. So my spine has been actually really painful for the past few days, very uncomfortable for the past few days. Today I am finally going to the chiropractor, so I am so excited for that. And at one point, I actually had a really strong shooting pain down one of my legs. That went away after a day or two, but it was like unbearable. It was like really, really sore. And I got worried. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's a clot. The pain in my leg is so intense. But apparently that's also normal, that it's like from the pressure that's being put on your joints, and I think there's like a pinched nerve or something. Not 100% sure of what exactly is happening there, but apparently that's also pretty common. And that's another thing that comes in waves. So I've noticed when there's like a lot of growth happening, there's more discomfort and pulling and aching and pain. And then you go through a phase where it feels like there's a little bit of relief. And usually the discomfort and aching and pain comes with the tiredness and sleepiness. So I've figured that that's when like the growth is really happening, and then you get like a little bit of a break. What I have found that really helps is stretching. So I put pregnancy Pilates on YouTube. I just search it on YouTube and I put some easy, simple Pilates stretches for back or wherever the aches and pains are during pregnancy. That really helps. And then obviously your sleeping position is really important, but putting a wedge or something underneath your stomach, because your stomach is pulling down when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping on your side and you have that stomach, it's pulling down, so it's twisting your back. So if you put a wedge there just to hold it up a little bit, that also really helps. So make sure you're in a comfortable position. I do use a pregnancy pillow too, obviously. And it's amazing how much help and information is available for free on YouTube. So I'm really, really grateful for that. That's really, truly helped. Some people pay a lot of money to go to physiotherapists or to have consultations with doctors for these types of tips, but we have it available for free on YouTube. So that's been my go-to at the moment. And that is about it. I am going into my 3rd trimester now. I absolutely cannot believe it. They say the 2nd trimester is the best. For me, it's just different. It's just been different, that's all. Obviously, the hormonal changes and the tiredness and the things that you feel in the 1st trimester, they fade in the 2nd trimester, and you get your appetite back, which is amazing. So that's been great. And I think the 3rd trimester is going to be pretty uncomfortable. I can feel that coming along. So when they say 3rd trimester is like discomfort, I believe it, but I don't think it's gonna be unbearable. I think it's still gonna be beautiful and all a part of the process and enjoyable, and all in all, I am loving being pregnant. The joy it brings is just so worth it. So let's get into the bump update then. This is my bump at the moment. As you can see, it's pretty big. It's getting big, it's really getting there. There's a lot of growing happening. No wonder I've been in a bit of pain. So that is all for today's video. Let me know if you experience similar symptoms during your pregnancy, and if you have anything interesting to add about why some of these things happen during pregnancy, I'd be really interested to know, because it's always great to know why things are happening, you know? And I think that also helps very much during the birthing process when you're going through aches and pains and things like that. When you know what's happening, it really helps to get through, and it helps you to work with your body and with your baby, and to make good choices, and to remain positive, and to just enjoy the whole miraculous process. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.